Hey, this is Demitri with the Demitri team, and I wanted to come to you to talk a little bit about what I wish I knew before joining a brokerage. Just recently, I actually changed brokers, and I've been a veteran of real estate, at least as a realtor, for the last 15 plus years. I've been in real estate probably 25 years, but anyway, because of my experience recently in changing brokers, it was a little more eye-opening than the last 3 or 4 times that I changed brokers in my career. A couple of those times I changed for different reasons, but in this one, thoroughly going through and asking lots of questions and really kind of look. And I thought I would share that experience with you because actually, quite honestly, in the last interview with the broker after already meeting with their recruiter, I don't know, 4 different times. I've probably met with, I guess, 12 different brokers over this past month trying to figure this out. But one of the things that the broker said in our meeting was, gosh, I wish agents asked all these questions, because if we did, we wouldn't have so many difficulties with agents. So here is my experience that I am trying to share with you, because you are either a brand new agent for the most part. Maybe you've selected a broker, but or maybe you've just passed your test and you haven't selected a broker yet. But in any case, even if you're an old-time agent and you're thinking about change, these are some things to take a look at. So let me pull up my spreadsheet, or not my spreadsheet, but my wrong one. Oh, yeah, take that off. Perfect. There we go. We're there. PowerPoint. Love it. Okay. So here's your guide to choosing your broker. Of course, it's by me. Got my name. I go by Demitri. There's too many Johns in the world. Got my phone number and my email. So you got questions, feel free to call me. Shoot me an email. No problem. I'm also a team leader. So, I have my own team, and I am looking for agents on my team. So, at some point I'm going to reach out and go, hey, love to have you on my team. And we can talk about that. But this is about you and choosing your broker. So let's go to the second one. Here's your first thing to know. All right, you're an entrepreneur. Maybe nobody told you. You are a small business, a business owner. You're the guy in charge. So when you come into real estate, a lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to go choose a broker. I'm going to go work for a broker. And they think of it as the employee the employee-employer relationship, and that's far from the truth. You are your own man or woman, and you own that, and it is all your responsibility, because you're just not an employee. In fact, your broker, no matter who you're going to go to, is going to have you sign an ICA, which is an independent contractor agreement, which that is a piece of paper that does two things. One, it kind of stipulates what their agreement is between the two of you, what you've agreed on, and more importantly, keeps the broker out of trouble with the IRS of saying, oh, well, those are employees, you're managing what they're doing or not. That they can say, no, I have an agreement, they are their own person, they manage their own time and everything. So that's the first thing to know. That might be a new revelation for you. I hope it's not, but it may be, and if it is, we need to work on some things to help you in that area as well. So let's look at this. You're the boss. Now what? This is those next things. So realize all the business activities are up to you. They're your responsibility, and you can break all those things into two groups. You've got a group of things that you have to do in your business that are not going to make you a dime, and you have a group of things in your business you're going to do that will make money. They are income producing activities. So when you're looking at a broker, what you need to look at is, hey, Mr. Broker, what non-income producing activities can you take off my plate? What can you handle for me? And those that you handle for me, is there a cost for them? The other thing is that potentially brokers, they've been out there for a while. You're not going to be the first person. In fact, they're in the same situation. They too are a business. They got overhead. So they may have arranged for a lot of these services from a third party, where they can extend their agreement for you, and you may get a savings. Because if, let's say, you got somebody handling their digital marketing, and they're doing it for 50, 60 agents of that broker, well, you may get a discount because it's a quantity thing. Hey, I'm doing it for all of these, not just you. And so because of the group piece, I'm going to afford you a discount on that. So you want to get those things clarified when you're talking with the, with your prospective brokers, and make sure you're writing all this stuff out and charting it together, because at some point you got to make a decision, and you need to be able to weigh each broker and decide where you're going to go. All right. Then you want to ask, what are the fees? Now, you're going to talk to brokers. They're going to tell you they're 100% shop. You get 100% of your commission. Let me tell you, you can talk to 10 100% brokers. You're going to have 10 different definitions of what 100% means. A broker has to make money. If they don't make money, they don't stay in business. So somehow they're making money off of you. Realize that, okay? And what you got to do is flesh it out. How are they making money? And then how much is that money? And compare that across brokerages, all right? You're going to have monthly fees. They're going to range. Those fees are going to cover different things. So you want to find out what they cover. You're going to have E&O insurance. Some people throw the E&O into the monthly fee. Some people charge you separately. Sometimes it's a quarterly or annual fee for E&O. So you need to get all that out. Transaction fees. So every time you do a transaction, that means anytime a house is sold, there's a transaction. And in that transaction, there's a seller side and a buyer side. So there are two sides to a transaction, and there may be transaction fees that your broker charges. Most of the time, you are only going to be on one of those sides. You're either representing the seller or representing the buyer. Occasionally, you may represent both, but most of the time, it's only one side. And you want to find out, does your broker charge a fee, and how much? And then you want to know, is there any fees on commission? That may sound a little weird, but there are brokerage houses out there that they tell you, hey, it's 100% commission. Oh yeah, but we have this fee schedule that if you sell a house at this amount, it's this fee, and this amount is this fee. So you might have a $395 transaction fee and another $695 commission fee that the broker charges. So you got a total of $1,900, maybe $1,100 on each sale that you do that you're going to pay that broker. All right, broker split. Sometimes people put it into the broker split. The broker split is, it might be represented as a 90-10, 80-20, 70-30, which means you're going to get the bigger number, they're going to get the smaller. So if it's $10,000 and it's an 80-20, you're getting $8,000, they're getting $2,000. All right. Next thing is an annual cap. And you want to know about the annual cap because sometimes the broker will tell you, okay, you've got, every transaction is $1,350. And you go, wow, that's a lot of money, $1,350. It is, unless a couple things. One, is there an annual cap? Let's say they tell you, hey, it's only $12,000 annually. So you're going to pay that $1,350 to the broker each time up to the $11,000, for instance. And after that, you keep that money. And then the next thing is, on that annual cap is, how's that 12-year cycle figured? Is it done calendary, meaning January to December, or is it done on anniversary, meaning the day you were hired? So if you were hired June 10th, then it would go June 10th to June 10th the next year. And then you want to know, are there any required services that the broker on your transactions that the broker, and it may not just be transactions, it may be other types of services that they require you to do to be part of their brokerage. And a TC is a transaction coordinator. That actually is a very good idea, whether it's required or not by the broker. Usually transaction coordinators are anywhere from $295 to $495. What the transaction coordinator does is handles all of your paperwork. So you go get a deal, let's say you're going to do a sale, you've written up the offer, it got accepted. Now you got all this paperwork that's got to continue from there, and a process to get that house from accepted to closing. The transaction coordinator handles all that for you, makes you actually look very good, makes sure that everybody stays informed, that everything happens on time, and that you actually close and get paid. Those are important things. So it's worth the money. It takes a hat off of your head that is non-income producing and allows you to focus on things that are income producing. All right, next one. Benefits. So, hey, if you're going to join that broker, is there any benefit to you? Is there anything they offer that if you do that does become a benefit? One of those is recruitment. A lot of times brokers will give you something for bringing other agents into their brokerage. And over time, when you're at a brokerage, you're going to meet agents, especially new agents, and you're going to talk to them, and they're going to say, well, where are you at? And you tell them, and they go, well, great, I'll go join that. So that agent joins, and you might get $10 a month. You might get some percentage of their production. It's all kinds of formulas. Realize there's hundreds of ways to do something, and they've all been exploited here in real estate. So what you want to find out is there a benefit? And if so, what is it? And then another important question is, on that benefit, you've been there 10, 15, 20 years, you happen to pass away, is that benefit willable? Meaning, can you leave that benefit to somebody? A lot of times people don't even think to ask that question, and I will tell you, there are places out there that is absolutely willable, and that money actually could be substantial. The other thing is there a health care plan? So the health care is because brokers have a lot of agents as a group. If they come together and they want to participate in healthcare, you can drive the cost down, and that has been something over the last couple of years that a bunch of brokers have jumped on. So you want to see if that's available, and may save you some money in your healthcare. Training. All right, every broker is going to tell you they have training. The question is, what's not just the quality, but accessibility and frequency and historical part of their training. Because as an agent, especially a new agent, there's a lot of things you need to know. And if some of those things are available, especially if they're in a video library that you can access on demand, that becomes something of value. The other thing is, I've been at brokers where they have a lot of training. The problem is it's not organized, and as a new agent, you're trying to find something, and there's 20 different labels that represent what you think you're looking for, and it becomes very difficult. So I'm describing a needle in a haystack. So you want to have somebody that has actually done, done a good job on their library. So you want to know, do they have, is their training only in person, or is it virtual, or both? And again, do they record it? Do you get access to it? And is there any sort of cost for their training? In your career, you're going to find that just like you paid for this class, most likely that you took to get your first license, you're going to find that there are additional classes that you have to do because of continuing education. And most of those classes do cost you something, but then there are other classes, especially the MLS board you join. Some of those classes are free, some of those are not free. National Association of Realtors, same thing. They've got classes, some free, some not free. So you want to always know about the cost on training. All right, next thing, mentorship. Now, don't confuse mentorship with training. A lot of people intertwine those two. They are drastically different. Training has to do with mechanics. Hey, I've got to utilize the MLS. How do I use it? That's mechanics. That just tells you how to operate a piece of software. Mentorship tells you how to be a successful real estate agent. And yes, there could be, how do I use the MLS best as a successful real estate agent? What are the tricks of using this software to be able to make me more proficient or better, or utilize my contacts and get them, really find what they need. So mentorship is something that you quite honestly should look at doing, and that you want to know whether any of the brokers have a mentorship program. And more importantly, in the mentorship, anybody that has a mentorship program, you want to know how long they're going to expect you to be in it, or how long it's going to take you to complete the mentorship, and what they're going to cover. And is their mentorship actually a curriculum, meaning it's actually written down for every agent that they train, they do the same thing, and that you've got agents you can talk to that have had success in it or failures, and tell you what they didn't like about the mentorship. But I think the curriculum is an important piece, that you have something that's actually written down as a structure for how the mentorship is going to go. For instance, I happen to have a mentorship program. It's 100 days to $100,000. At the end of those 100 days, you will possess all of the tools, all of the experience, the confidence, everything that will ensure that you can make $100,000 a year in real estate, and quite honestly, you can make way more than 100 grand if you really apply yourself to it. But you need all the tools that I put in my mentorship that, quite honestly, will take you 3, 4, 5 years minimum without going through a program and relying on yourself to figure out the way. All right. What's the cost? That's the other thing. You want to know, what does that mentorship cost? There's a lot of ways. Most mentorships are not just a flat fee. Most of the time it's a share in the money that you bring in. So for instance, in the mentorship, it may say, hey, every transaction you do, we're going to split 50-50. Some people do 70-30, 60-40. Those are kind of the splits there. But you'll have to weigh that out and see where that is. An important thing to consider, though, when joining a brokerage. All right, we always look at coming in the door. We always forget to look at going out the door. There will be times in your career that you probably will want to leave or change brokers. And what you need to remember is that every listing that you get is the broker's listing. It's not yours. So if you decide to leave, one is, does the broker charge you a cost, especially if you did a mentorship program? There may be a cost. I do know a broker, it has nothing to do with mentorship, but I do know a broker that buried in their ICA says if you leave them in a certain amount of time, you owe them $29.95. So that's $2,995 you're going to have to hand them to walk out the door. The other thing is, like I said, the active listings. Do they release your listing and let you take it with you? Do they keep it? Do you get any commission out of it when it sells? You need to ask those questions. Same thing with sales that you do. It's not it's a buyer's agent part. You've made a sale. It's not closed yet. So you have this open transaction. What happens to that? Does the commission remain the same? Does it change? So you want to have all of those things covered in your ICA. If when you read the ICA it's not covered, make sure that whatever they've told you, that it gets written down, added to the ICA. Here's another important lesson right here. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. And that applies to absolutely everything you do within real estate. You're going to have times in your career, you're going to talk to another agent on a sale. You're going to try to, you guys are going to agree on something. And what will happen is that verbal agreement, or even if it's text and email, okay, that verbal agreement or text or email agreement will end up not happening. So they said, oh yeah, the buyer's going to accept your $250,000 offer. You talk to them the next day, oh, they signed a contract for somebody else. And you go, well, wait a minute, you sent me an email that they're going to accept my offer. Well, it had to be in writing. When I say in writing, it has to be signed, both sides, okay? Both parties have to have it signed where it's an agreement, it's in writing, both parties have signed it. So in the case of a sale, you need the buyer and the seller to have signed it. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. All right? All right, let's go to conclusion here. So here's a conclusion. Take your time. And notes. Take your time. Take plenty of notes. There are quite a few brokerages out there. I would, interview at least 10. Take a look and see where they are. I would look at no-name brokerages. I would look at mainstream brokerages. Look at them all. I happen to be at Keller Williams. I've been both with brokerage houses that had zero brand recognition, and I've had houses that have had great national and international brand records. I will tell you that having that brand recognition is a benefit, especially to a newer agent. For me, I would say it's about a 50-50 thing, whether I care about that or not. But I think as a new agent, it should be something of importance for you. It will give you a leg up in being new, and that and it allows you to see a lot of different models. There's what we'll call the fee-based model, the 100% model, and then somewhere in between. And realize, like I said, I bet out of every broker that you interview with, nothing will be exactly the same between any two brokers. There'll always be some different twist, different amount, sometimes even between the same national company and different local offices, because a lot of the brokerages out here, there's a national, and then the local office is actually a franchise of the national. So they all have their own slight little variation on the national as well. I would suggest you talk to agents, both agents that are there at the brokerage, and then those agents that you talk at the brokerage, ask them, were they with another broker prior, and if so, why'd they leave that broker? So you kind of get a good rounded piece. I realize this is a lot of effort to get done, but it's going to be worth it for your own long-term career. I'll say longevity, sanity, appreciation, and happiness. All of those things put together in choosing your broker. Make your chart, obviously, for comparison, so you can compare everything. And then as you've done this, and you come up with like the things I've told you, and then maybe you're going to discover some new things on your own. Come up with the 5 most important things that you believe are the most important things for you. Make sure whatever broker you choose, that they absolutely cover those 5 things, and then the rest of the things that are important to you, that they are acceptable, that you go, okay, I can live with that because my 5 are covered. And if you do come up with things that I haven't covered, shoot me a note. I'd love to know. All right. I hope you have a great and terrific career. I do look forward to an opportunity at some point to meet you, at least if on video conference, and we can talk about whether you'd like to look at joining the Demitri team and the brokerage that I'm at, Keller Williams, and see if that's a fit for you as well. And we'll go from there. All right. I hope you have a terrific day and a wonderful real estate career. This is a great career, and I think you've made a good choice. Talk to you later.